Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
The following is independently produced programming. The views and opinions expressed are those of the producers and do not reflect the views and opinions of Falls Area Community Television, our staff, or board of directors.
Secrets in the shadows, lost and found. Truth in every echo, loud and clear. Keep on with the long road, no more fear. In the halls of power, whispers grow. Every secret cut beneath the undertone. Honest stories hidden in the dust. On this long road, in the truth we trust.
Welcome to The Long Road. I'm your host, Chris Roberts. And before we start the show, growing up as a high school kid and growing up in college and in the Marine Corps, I was kind of like a stoic. I studied Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Roman emperors of all times. And I studied Machiavelli while I was in high school when I first started. I did not study Machiavelli to be manipulative or to get ahead or whatever. I studied him to find out how people acted. And so between reading Machiavelli and reading Marcus Aurelius, 50 years later, I'm still doing that. And one of the things that I learned long time ago with those individuals, there's reality and there's what we want our reality to be. And the more we create our own reality, the more pain that we suffer. And so with Marcus Aurelius and Machiavelli and other ones, Carl Jung, the great psychologist, philosopher, it was important to understand reality. And part of my understanding of morality is from a song, Leonard Cohen. In that song, he sings, the game is rigged, which he's talking about the game of life. The game of life is rigged. And then he follows up and said the dice are loaded. And we can say all we want, that isn't true. But as long as we have recorded history, we know without question the game is rigged. It has always been rigged, and the dice are loaded and always been loaded. Then I'll take another one with Colonel Justice in A Few Good Men, when he says, you cannot handle the truth. Okay? No one wants to handle the truth because the truth hurts. And it's just plain and simple. The truth hurts and it violates your view of the world. We can look in the movie in A Few Good Men and we see the Lance Corporal and the PFC getting thrown out of the Marine Corps with bad conduct discharges, and their life is ruined. And people are left, boy, you know what? Colonel Jeffrey just got arrested, and the lieutenant is going to get arrested. Well, 21 years in the Marine Corps. Colonel Jeffords is not going to jail. He's not going to lose his rank. He's going to get a letter of reprimand. He's going to get his honorable discharge. His punishment is he won't receive the star. That is how the game, for example, the game is rigged. The two young Marines were following directions based on what their platoon commander told them to do. The platoon commander told them to do it not because Colonel Jeffrey told him to do it, because it was an ungiven order and was really his content, and he never took the leadership thing of saying, don't do it in a way it didn't mean do it. So between the 21 years in the Marine Corps, being on the school board, being at the city council, being up at the state house, being on board of directors of nonprofits, I'll tell you, the game is rigged. Okay? I know the game is rigged. I will not fight the fact that the game is rigged. I will not fight the fact that the dice are loaded. There is nothing I can do about it. Yes, people, let's revolt. Okay. People can revolt against a rigged system. But it doesn't take long for a new rigged system to develop. They will always be a rigged system. And the biggest part that enables the rigged system is ensuring the masses believe what they're told, and the masses stay uneducated. They can believe they're being educated, but are they really educated enough to ask the questions? Or are they educated enough with moral courage to risk losing everything because that would be the right thing to do? Or would they cowardly accept what they're being told and not say a word, put their heads down, and keep typing at that keyboard and able to convince themselves this is the right thing to do? So today, I'm asking, what is the truth? Do you know if something is real or it isn't real? Okay, some AI are so good, it is really hard to decide, is that real or is that Memorex? Go, oh, I think it's real, or I don't know if it's real. Okay, if you have something and you're looking at that picture and I'm trying to say, oh, is that a Michelangelo? Or is that AI? Okay, when you're in that position, it's creating self-doubt. And you're creating self-doubt in your abilities, not AI's ability, but your ability that you cannot distinguish what is real and what isn't real. Right now, just think of it, especially in the 21st century. We're only completed 25 years of the 21st century, the century that had all this promise of being peaceful, productive, and allowing human beings to grow as individuals. But it hasn't worked out. When we were coming into the 21st century, we had all kinds of systems that we could trust. We had a high degree that the majority of the people in that system would be telling us the truth, and they would be working for public benefit. Well, who do we trust now? Who out there will validate things what are supposed to be truthful? Well, we used to have universities, scientific journals, churches, public broadcasting helping to create a shared sense of what was real. Okay? Universities. Right now, we have universities giving A's out left and right. Almost everybody graduating at the top. 60% of, the last time I was reading, I don't know, it's cum laude or whatever it is at Harvard, are up there. And they go, well, yeah, they're all Harvard students. Well, let's look at it this way. Every single player, 1,500 ball players, baseball players in the world play professional Major League Baseball. 450 individuals play the NBA. Every once in a while, you get a Magic Johnson, a Larry Bird, Stephen Curry. You know, those individuals, that's really tough to comprehend the abilities and the work those individuals do to increase. But the last player number 450th in the NBA, in a lot of cases, is so far ahead of the all-star players in Major League College. Likewise with the football players. You didn't make the NFL, but there's such a big gap. Just like, so what? If everybody went to Harvard with perfect score SATs, 4+ GPAs, they all can't get the same grade. If you're giving them the same grade, you're not being truthful. Why would Harvard want to give them all the same grade? Because it benefits the university. The university makes a lot of money. The university gets a lot of donations from alumni. But aren't I supposed to go to Harvard? If I'm going to Harvard, am I not supposed to get a quality education? If I'm paying $300,000 or my parents paying $300,000, am I there to be educated or am I there to get a 4.0? Yep. You're there. Harvard is giving you the 4.0 to see you're doing really good. Here you are. Well, the world doesn't work like that. The world is pretty competitive. But if 60% of the people at Harvard get 4.0s, they're not learning what they're paying for, and they're not developing the competitive skills that they were paid for. Even we go down to Keene State, look at the number of professors that have, and associate professors that have been dropped off full-time status and be replaced with adjunct faculty. Adjunct faculty is working to hopefully get a full-time job. And if they're going to get if they want to get a full-time job, they can't give kids honest grades. So I can send my kid to King State College, $125,000, and they might not get an education at all because they may have only had a few classes with professors, and they leave there with debt. They leave there with high honors, but being totally unprepared for the real world. And as we're seeing, recent graduate unemployment rates are higher than the national unemployment rate. Why did the college lie? Because they want mom and dad to keep sending their kids there. Why did mom and dad not paying attention? Because they want their kids to get a college degree. Mom and dad are not going to accept the truth, because for them to accept the truth means they were screwed over. So it's better not to accept the truth, even thought their kids got an inferior education, and maybe leaving your children and yourself in debt that could affect your retirement and affect their ability to start a family and buy a home, because you will not accept the fact that you were lied to, and that the fact you believe that lie. Okay? Scientific journals. A lot of college professors, hey, I'm not teaching a class. I'm just doing research and writing papers so they can be published in these journals. Well, I've seen places where at least 20% of the papers in scientific journals are bogus. They're false. They can't be replicated. Okay, and it's like, hey, where's the peer review? Before a paper would go into the journal, some other people would have tried your experiments under the same conditions and see if they could replicate the outcome. If they couldn't replicate the outcome, bogus. But if I'm a professor and I keep publishing these, I have a better chance of becoming tenured faculty. But what about the kids I'm supposed to teach? I can get a graduate assistant to teach them. But wait a minute, you've got 25 years in economics, and the graduate assistant is just going to grad school. He or she just graduated from undergrad with an economics degree. Oh, they may have had 10 courses in economics, but you get a PhD in economics, and if I'm paying $2,000 for the course, don't I deserve the right to get an experienced person? But no. Hey, but when your kid gets ready to think about coming to my college, the college will post Professor Chris E. Roberts, 25 years on the staff, tenured faculty, has written all these articles, had these books and articles published. Oh, so mom and dad are going to make the assumption that Professor Chris Roberts is going to teach their son or daughter in economics, when in fact their son and daughter may never ever see Professor Chris Roberts. He may not even show up on the campus because he may be out doing research, but he's still collecting a paycheck. Churches. Ooh. That is pretty tough one. You know, over the years, we're basically, when it comes to protecting children, every domination of religion has had their bad people. They've had places where, some more than others, where people kept a lot of money. They build mega churches. They live on big multi-million-dollar houses and have no problem telling people are working their butts off and just barely making enough money to survive. Just keep giving me the money and you'll get your reward in the afterlife. Well, what happens if I want to at least have a comfortable current life? Or we'll come out and say, hey, we're against homosexuality. Ooh, wait a minute. Some of our priests and some of our reverends and some of our ministers have engaged in homosexuality while at the same time condemning us to hell because I might be gay, or saying you can't even come to inside my church because you're gay. Well, I thought the final decision whether you go to heaven or you go to hell was God's decision, not some other person who's saying you are going to hell. Okay, public broadcasters. There ain't too many Walter Cronkite's or Edward Morrow around. Okay, if I want a job at Fox, I want a job at Newsmax, CNN, CBS, ABC. Oh, I have to be a puppet. Even if I know what I'm going to say isn't true, I have to be a puppet. Because if I want to express an opinion that my boss determines might offend an advertiser, even if I want to say is true, I have to keep my mouth shut if I want to keep my job. So, all of us as Americans, because we don't want to handle the truth, we can all go to a news outlet, whether it's on regular TV or cable TV, or even now YouTube or other ones, and we will be able to find someone, some news channel that will reinforce our vision of reality. Okay? Look at that. So again, on the media, and now political. Again, we can go and find anybody, someone out there to reinforce our vision of reality. If the Secretary of War says these fishing boats are the high-speed craft that we're using F-35s and F-18s to blow out of the water, or as the president's saying is, oh, each boat that we blow out of the water it's full of fentanyl and it saves 250,000 American lives. Well, mostly all the fentanyl comes from through Mexico, and a lot of the fentanyl that comes across the border is done by white American citizens. Okay. And the Center for Disease Control says drug overdoses last year, it looks like it's going to be the first drop off in 33 years. Well, wow. And so the Center for Disease Control says it looks like, well, not last year, but 2024, when they compile everything, there'll be about 100,000 deaths. Not bad. But the president told the American people, every boat that we blow up, watercraft that we blow up and sink it, which is full of fentanyl, we save 250,000 Americans. So every boat, every 4 boats is 1 million. Okay, so last I looked, it was 21. So according to the president's statistics, over 5.2 million Americans have been saved from fentanyl-induced overdose in the last 6 months. Wait, but you know what? A lot of people believe that. Wait. The truth is, according to the government statistics, only about 100,000 people are going to died in 2024. And in the last 6 months, we sink 21 watercraft. And even if they were all causing cocaine, the cocaine was going to Europe. How does that compute in saving 5.2 million Americans? That's over 50 years of drug overdose deaths. So, what is the truth? The truth in the past was observation, reasoning, and regular testing. All going out the window. We don't want any of that. Do you know what the biggest, quote, creation of truth right now is? Algorithms. Okay, you get asked questions on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever and say, the average person only went to 4 of these 30 places. The average person is only going to so many of these countries. Were you alive in the 50s, the 60s? Come on. Have you done this? Have you been divorced? Have you been ziplining? And we go, oh, yes. Or now things pop up and say, hey, I'm 62 years old. Give me a like or say something. Well, I'm 52 or I'm Asian or all these different things. Or you go in and say, oh, let me look at this advertisement. Or, you know what? I'm going to, oh yeah, someone said such and such. One of my friends. Every time you do it, it goes into like hey, this is what Chris Roberts did. So every single time I do something or I click on something, I'm, quote, either reinforcing this electronical Chris Roberts, or I'm adding something new, or they're dropping out. And they're creating an algorithm. Okay? So Facebook, Google, every time I click on this or that, they're all sending stuff to me to reinforce my sense of reality. TikTok, the host says, hey, influencers, if I'm way out here in world place, I can be an influencer. So if I'm an attractive young lady, or I'm an attractive young guy, or if I'm one of the Jenners, or Kardashians, or someone has distorted his face with 52 plastic surgeries, I become an influencer. Hey, if I can get 2 million followers, and I say, you know what? I drink Coca-Cola every Friday night because it makes me sexually attractive. And bing, 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 bing. And 275,000 give me the thumbs up. Well, Coca-Cola pays me a big check. And you don't even know how I feel on Friday night. And you don't even know if I drink Coca-Cola every Friday night. I just taken a picture, a video, a 10-second video of me drinking Coca-Cola on a Friday night. But it influences what you do. It influences what you buy. It influences what you eat. It creates a reality for you which says you can't be you unless you listen to the influencer. Just think about it. What does the term influencer mean? And then ideology. Hey, I'm MAGA. I'm socialist. You just name it. People have ideology. Oh, I'm a fundamental Christian. I'm a Christian nationalist. People create their ideology, and if you're not part of that group, you are wrong. They're saying is everybody part of this is wrong. If I'm a Christian nationalist and you go, you know, I'm letting my wife got a college degree, she works, I've got 3 daughters, I'm sending them out to give them the opportunity to get a college degree, decided what they want and everything. And he goes, no, you're supposed to keep your wife home. Your 3 daughters are not supposed to go out and get to go to school where they be corrupted. They're supposed to stay home and stay pure and learn to be obedient until we find the right man for them to marry, and then repeat the cycle of producing as many white children as possible, because if they don't, we're going to be browned out. You're welcome to your own views, but you're not welcome to take your sense of reality and try to convince everybody else that their reality is wrong and only your reality is right. You got the influencer, tribal. People believe in what aligns with their group identity regardless of evidence. Hey, to me, I'm not getting in discussion with a lot of people. I allow them to think what they do, whatever, and I'm never, ever going to try to change anybody's mind. And like I've said a number of times on the show, I'm just presenting things out here not to help you make a decision. Hopefully you're going and say, you know what? I think Mr. Roberts is throwing out a lot of BS, and I'm going to do research just to prove him wrong. If that's happening, I'm achieving my goal. Or the big one in right now in the country, authoritarian. Power determines truth through censorship, propaganda, or ideological enforcement. Just because Mr. Trump says something, or Steve Miller, or Pete Hegseth, and other people, I don't care if it's a Democratic governor like the governor of Massachusetts, or Tim Walsh, or Gavin Newsom. I don't care it's a Republican governor in Florida or in Texas. All of them tell the truth, how they see it and how it benefits them. They are in power and they want to stay in power, or they want to increase their power. And because of the tribal, the group, and ideological, people have to believe. They'll go, what happens if I question? If I question, I'll no longer be part of the group. So I can't ask questions, and I go, they know more than me, so they must be right. I must be wrong. Hey, I don't care if you went to religious schools, private schools, public schools, charter schools. There is a great, great chance you were never educated to the level you think you were. First, truth. You cannot accept the fact that you did not receive an education like you were told. You know, the ones that say you can be anything that you want to be if you work hard enough. If you can dream it, you can do it. The world is yours. Bingo. Okay. You tend to realize how many people play college basketball every year, graduate from college, or go out early. And every year, only 64 individuals are drafted by the NBA. And that's players worldwide. So there's thousands and thousands of college basketball player, major college basketball player, that never make the NBA. And there's a lot of ones that get drafted who will sit the bench in the NBA and maybe play a couple of minutes a season. Because being drafted guaranteed you nothing except the contract. But, you know, democracy depends on sharing a shared understanding of reality. But we've all created all these different realities. So look where we are right now. You got the left, you got the right, and if anybody's in the middle, they must be destroyed. Democracy depends on a middle ground. We have Democrats and we have Republicans that constantly lie, constantly provide misinformation. But if I'm a Democrat, I gotta believe it. If I'm a Republican, I gotta believe it. Or, hey, for example, I think it was 2 or 3 days ago, I was reading, the father was a MAGA guy. He got into a political argument with his 22-year-old daughter. She wasn't agreeing with him, so he solved the problem by going to get a weapon, pulling the trigger, and killing her. You kill your own daughter because she will not accept your MAGA beliefs. That is not democracy. That is not being a parent. People are getting divorced because they're voting for different people. I don't care who my wife votes for. I don't ask her who she voted for. She doesn't ask me. I don't even ask her if she's voted for me in any of the elections. All I say is, Lou, you better go out there so people can be seen, checked off that you showed up. Okay, science requires you got to be able to replicate the evidence. You don't come up with opinions. Oh, if you take this medicine while you're pregnant, you're going to have autistic kids. But a lot of science evidence says, oh, if the guy is in his late 30s, 40s, and he's got a lifetime of collecting a lot of toxins and stuff in his body, and the woman is older, it greatly increases their chances of having autistic kids. But no, we can blame it on vaccines, but it's been proven over and over and over, while research has shown over and over again that is highly unlikely. So we go, hey, you don't have to take this vaccine, you don't have to take that vaccine. Oh, look at South Carolina. They're just having measles cases after measles cases because they were saying, hey, no big deal. You know, nature will take care of it. You know what? A few cases, what's here and there. Now we have 100 cases. Social cohesion. What I was just talking about, the father blowing away his kid. Society tears itself apart if people cannot talk, if people are hating each other because they're not political, they don't share the same political ideas, they don't share the same thing on religion. When I was in the Marine Corps, I had a few rules. You never talk about sex, you never talk about religion, and you never talk about politics. And I had great unit cohesion. If you want to talk about sex, you keep it home. If you want to talk politics, you keep it away from my unit. Talk about religion, hey, you can go to the chaplain, or you can go to the minister, or whatever, and you can go to church. But we don't talk about any of those. Okay. People keep talking, oh, we get a crisis of misinformation. We're way past misinformation. we're way past fake news. We're in a situation where we don't know what's true or not. We can't trust politicians. We can't trust religious people. We can't trust teachers. We can't trust universities. We can't trust companies. Okay? So who do we trust? And it's right here. Education loses meaning when facts are optional and trust in educators collapse. People think if they take their kids, well, we've lost trust with public educators, so we'll take them to charter schools. We've lost trust with them. Or we'll take them to religious school. Oh, we're losing trust with them. We'll give them to private schools. We're losing trust. But you know what? If I take them to private schools, I can't lose trust with them because I'm paying. If I go to religious schools, I can't lose trust with them because, no, my pastor, my priest, these individuals would not do that. They're chosen by God that do that. Well, if you dig in deep enough, some of these religious schools now have schools and have grown schools because there happen to be a big pool of government money available and they're benefiting. Hey, about 20 years ago, Monadnock School and Keene School districts were given $5 million for basically a Mr. PSOC group where it would be school choice, where kids could go to Monadnock schools or they can go to Keene, all over. Well, and if we did it right, we would have got another 5-year grant. But the first 5 years, hardly any kids benefited from it. It was so corruptly run that it was an embarrassment to our state senator, and he refused to go in and get the next extension on the grant. But a lot of what comes down to be truth is what financially benefits the organization, the person, the group, or whatever. Money rules. And like Leonard Cohen said, the game is rigged and the dice is loaded. And the game is like a poker game, and it runs on money. The more money you have, the longer you get to play in the game. And the key is you have to present the truth in a way that people will believe it to the point that they will give more and more of their money so you can stay in the game. So it becomes a vicious circle. They can't tell you the truth because you'll stop giving them money. You give them money and you arrange your perception, your reality of the truth, so you feel justified in giving them the money. No different when Wounded Warriors. People were giving all kinds of money to Wounded Warriors until they found out, wow, this guy's hiring some family members, paying them an awful lot of money, and they're going on junkets and everything. And it says, no. This isn't where we were donating money for. Okay? You know, there's a federal list out there that will tell you the percentage of the money that's donated that goes to the cause, not to overhead. You'll be surprised how many of these requests for money that come to our houses all the time, how much the overhead is and how little goes to the cause. Like here, Americans long time ago made peace with the post-reality media environment which we are living. TikTok's algorithms pump fake video into users' feed. Spotify is full of AI-generated pop songs intermersed with real ones. The federal government routinely disseminates altered videos. We can even accept full-length documentaries enhanced with so-called synthetic material. The financial success and the relevant lack of outrage suggests we have stopped trying to discern between real and fake. We have stopped caring. Those are pretty powerful words. The financial success and the relative lack of outrage suggests that we have stopped trying to discern between real and fake. We have stopped caring. They won. They have succeeded. They make their money because you and a lot of other people have stopped caring. So they keep pumping to you knowingly not the complete truth, but enough of the truth that you find it accepting. So, I can do a documentary and I can think up stuff and I can make it and I can put it in. Quote, enhanced. Okay? What's the name? Travis. I can try and think. Country singer Travis. 3 Crosses. Things like that. Okay, shoot. He had a stroke. He can't sing. Okay? So what they did is they took all his songs and put them in a machine. And they pumped out a song. It sounds exactly like him. The song is There's More Where That Came From. And last time I looked, it had over 10 million views. If you do not look on YouTube and you just listen to it, you can't tell the difference. So you're paying for Spotify music, and you don't even know if a song is real or AI. You get pictures, even on Facebook and other ones. Is that video AI? Is that video, is that picture AI? Oh, the government, the federal government, ICE, or whatever, puts out a video and you go, oh, the government put it out. It must be true. But then, oh, wait a minute. That part of the video is someplace way out. So what do? The vast majority of Americans do not want to question. They want to accept. And again, like Colonel Jessup and A Few Good Men, you can't handle the truth. We do not want to handle the truth. The reason we don't want to handle the truth, we do not want to risk what we have. Well, I learned an important lesson when I was in the Marine Corps. I got passed over. I ticked off a general because I did something correct and I was supposed to fail. But I didn't. And then he went, there was 3 of the officers. Yeah, all 3 of them were majors. I was a captain. And the chief of staff says, you know what, I want to get rid of Captain Roberts. And they all sold their soul to the chief of staff, the colonel, and the general to do everything possible to get rid of Captain Roberts. Well, Captain Roberts later became lieutenant colonel, and none of those 3 ever got promoted because they knew the general's secret. They knew what the general wanted to do. So the general had to destroy them, destroy their credibility. So when we convince ourselves that we can't handle the truth, sooner or later, those rigged dice are going to take us out. So define your own reality. Research your own truth.
Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.